Let me tell you about the 12-year-old war hero that history tried to erase. In 1942, Calvin Graham was just 11 years old, stuck in a hard, unstable home situation that eventually landed him and his brother in a boarding house in Texas. And somehow, in the middle of all that, he came up with a plan that sounds almost unbelievable. He was going to get out by joining the U.S. Navy and going to war. So at 11 years old, he started shaving, not because he needed to, but because he had a plan. So every morning he dragged a razor across a face that didn't need it. He practiced a deeper voice, standing taller, trying to become someone he wasn't, because he had a secret. In 1942, Calvin Graham forged his mother's signature, lied about his age, and joined the U.S. Navy at just 12 years old. And somehow it worked. While other kids were doing homework, Calvin was aboard the USS South Dakota, heading straight into one of the deadliest battles in the Pacific, the Battle of Guadalcanal. There were explosions, fire, chaos. Shrapnel tore into his body. He was bleeding. He was injured. He was still just a kid. But he didn't go for help. He stayed. He dragged wounded sailors to safety, one after another, ignoring his own pain. And when it was over, he had earned the Purple Heart at 12 years old. But then the truth came out. When his mom saw an article in the paper about him, she told the Navy his actual age. And instead of honoring him, they discharged him, took his medals, denied his benefits, sent him home at 13, like none of it ever happened. By age 14, he was married. He had a child and then divorced. At 17, he joined the Marines, but his career ended there when he broke his back in service. For decades, he fought to be recognized, not for fame, but for the truth. Finally, President Jimmy Carter returned all the medals save the Purple Heart. President Ronald Reagan restored his honorable discharge and made sure he received the disability payments owed. He still didn't have the Purple Heart. Unfortunately, Graham died in 1992 at age 62 after a career fighting for disability recognition. The Purple Heart was finally restored posthumously. And here's the part that matters. He lied about his age, but he didn't lie about his courage. He didn't fake the scars. He didn't pretend to save those men. He was a child who thought his country needed him more than he needed a childhood. And history almost forgot him. But we won't. Remember his name, Calvin Graham.